I feel like we are often so stressed out about everything. I feel like we worry a lot about a lot of different things, and 90% of the time, this is all unnecessary worry. I'm sorry for the reflection in the camera. My screen protector's busted. I feel like we worry so much that we don't have enough, but we always have more than enough. We just don't pay attention. If you're physically able to experience worry, that means that you're alive. And if you're able to experience worry and anxiety, you're able to experience gratefulness and gratitude. Anxiety and gratitude are the complete opposite of each other on an emotional wavelength scale. Think of it as in happiness and sadness. If you feel sad and then you somehow manage to experience happiness, that sort of cancels out the sadness. Yeah, that's the same with anxiety and gratitude. If you're feeling anxious, if you then feel gratitude, it cancels out the anxiety. And I think we're so anxious because we don't practice gratitude enough. And I think that's something we should really work on, because we have so many opportunities to practice gratitude and we just don't use them to their full abilities. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things that we can be grateful for. And it's not even that, like, I'm happy I have food, I'm happy I have a house. You're not looking closely enough. You should be grateful that there are flowers outside of your house in the grass. You should be grateful that there's air outside that you can breathe, that it's not contaminated with poison chemicals, and that you have to wear an oxygen mask wherever you go. You should be grateful that, if you were starving on the street, you could go and buy a sandwich for $5. You should be grateful that there are these little things. You should be able to find the beauty in everything, because everything has beauty, but not everyone can see it. And if you look closely, you can truly see the beauty in everything. But we normally just don't look closely. We normally don't look at anything. And I think once we start doing that, our anxiety levels will certainly drop. We won't have to worry so much about different things. You won't have to worry that you don't have enough money, or that you don't have the thing that you want to have right now, or that, something isn't going the right way in your life. Everything in your life happens for a reason. That's firmly something that I believe in. Whether you're religious or not, you can believe in this. Everything happens for a reason. There's a purpose behind everything, even the incredibly negative things. I tell this to people all the time whenever I'm asked for advice. They come to me and they say, why is this happening to me? And then I say, well, everything has a reason. And then they tell me, no, but how could this possibly have a reason? Like, this disgusting, gut-wrenching, terrible thing happened to me. How could this possibly have a reason behind it? There's a reason. Everything disgusting and terrible that has happened to me had a reason behind it, so far that I've seen. There are still some things that I haven't seen the reason behind, but there are things that happened to me not decades, I'm sorry. I haven't lived that long, but years before. Years. And I am only now seeing the reason behind that. I feel like that's the same way now. Something disgusting and terrible can happen to you now, and you won't understand why it happened. But with time, you will. And if you give it up now because it's too difficult, you're not going to see why it happened. You're not going to be able to bring your life to its fullest extent. You're not even going to realize how happy you truly can be. And we focus on this idea of, giving up is what I need to do right now. We don't even think of it as giving up. We just think of it as like, I don't even know how to phrase it. It's not necessarily giving up, because from my perspective, I never really viewed it as giving up. Ending my life. I never viewed it as giving up. I more or less viewed it as, like, to a degree, surrendering. And I know those are generally synonyms, giving up and surrendering, but there's something different. There's something sweeter, more delicate about surrender. You sort of accept it. Giving up has more of a negative connotation to it, you know what I mean? And it's more as in, like, that's it, I give up. Like, I can't do it. And it's sort of negatively thought of. But surrendering is more like, it's more like, I could do it, but it's gonna have too much effort be put into it. It's going to be too difficult. It's going to take too much out of me that I won't be able to enjoy what would come from it. Surrendering, at least from what I see, is more like you could do it, but it would take so much out of you that you couldn't even imagine how good it could get. You don't see how it could get better. And I think ending your life is more under the umbrella of surrendering. Like, does that make sense? I feel like it's kind of hard to explain. But yeah, it's more like that. Like, I surrender because I have no other options. This is what I have right now. This is the best that it could get. I cannot go further. Or I could, but like I said earlier, it would just take too much out of me. And I think that's what we think of when we think of suicide. And I think if we focused more on how beautiful it is right now and how there's something beautiful in every situation, we wouldn't be thinking so much about surrendering. If that makes sense. You have to focus on what you have now. Because if you think to yourself that you don't have anything right now, or what you have is too negative, or you don't have as much as someone else, you're never going to have it. Because think of it as in, if you have one thing, once you get that one thing, you're still not going to be satisfied because you were never satisfied before. You're going to look for another thing, and then once you get that, you're going to look for another thing, and ultimately you're never going to be happy, and your whole life is going to be in search of this thing that you think is going to fill your heart, fill that void, but it's not going to do that for you. What's going to do that for you is being grateful for what you have. And it's a very generic concept that we think of, this gratefulness. We think anyone can do it, but it's a very slim demographic of people who actually practice gratefulness. Like, it's easy to just say, yeah, I'm grateful that I have this thing. It's easy around Thanksgiving. It's easy when we get that thing that we want in those first 5 minutes that we have it. It's easy, but how easy is it when you feel like you don't have anything? That's what true gratefulness is. When you feel like you don't have anything, and you are still grateful. You need to learn to be content with where you are, or you will never be content no matter where you are. You could have everything that you think you want, and you still won't be happy if you're not happy now. You need to learn how to be happy now. Happy isn't even a state of being. Happy is an emotion that we feel at times, the same way sadness is an emotion that we feel at times. There is no happy. There's no happy. You don't lead a happy life. Happy's an emotion. You don't lead a hungry life. You don't lead an angry life. You feel these things and then they go away. The same way you do with happy. No one leads a happy life. You feel happy at times, but not all the time. No one is happy all the time. No one is sad all the time. Even if you think you've been sad all the time, there's been some point in your life where you've been happy. And I think what you need, or I don't know what you need. I don't know what you need. I don't know you. But I think one thing to look at is being happy where you are. And it's hard. It's hard. It's something that takes time and practice. But once you figure it out, once you put effort into it, once you look into it, once you make it your priority to be grateful for what you have, to be content, I think our anxiety will subside quite a bit. You don't need to be happy. You need to be content where you are. If you're not happy with what you have now, how do you expect to be happy in the future? You think once you get that thing that you're looking for, you're going to be happy? You're going to be content? No. Because then you're going to see somebody else who has a better thing, and you're going to want that thing. That's just how it works. So, yeah. Focus on being grateful with what you have. Focus on what you've been already given. Focus on the food that's in front of you, on the bed that you lie in, on the people in your life that have helped you before. Focus on these things and be grateful that you have that. If you're constantly focusing on what you don't have, that's all you're ever going to see. Whether you believe in the universe or God or whatever, this otherworldly force does not provide when you are not grateful for what you already have. From what I've seen, in my beliefs, God provides for those that are grateful for what He has already given them. You always have everything that you need. Live your life with that in mind. You always have everything that you need in that moment. What you have will change. It has changed. It's changing now. It will change in the future. That always changes. But what doesn't change is the fact that that is exactly what you need. It may not be exactly what you want, but these forces, whatever you believe in, do not give you what you want. They give you what you can handle. They give you what you need. What you need and what you want can be two different things. But, once you sort of blend them together, you become a much more content person. You already have everything that you need. It's a human emotion to wish for other things, but once you focus on the fact that you already have what you need, and you focus on what you have now, you stop wanting things so much. And you start being grateful for what you've already been giving. And little by little, as you focus on gratitude, you're going to see more of the things that you want pop into your life. Because then you will be able to handle it. Then you will truly be grateful for it. Yeah, I think that's how it works.